This is Bad Brad Armstrong, part of the famous Armstrong family of professional wrestling, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
On the live version, 15 after the top of the hour on this 30th day. Yes, I've still got 45 minutes of March 30th, while Shane, now in the Eastern time zone, is now off into Friday. Beautiful thing. And Ted Guinness, of course, with us earlier. He is in the Mountain time zone. 3 individuals, 3 different time zones, 3 different states. All of us crazy. It helps. Welcome back into the Shooters Gallery. Overtime, if you will, call it hour number 3. Who knows? We may do it again. We've done it before a number of times. I am the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne on this side of the control panel. Welcoming back in tag team partner Shane Noles.
Yeah, we go bonus time shootout for those of you that are hockey fans.
Yeah, there you go. We can run that too. Before we do anything, and I know you, you'd set us up for the baseball game, but in less than 24 hours from now, you know where I'm going?
I'm trying.
Piedmont, Alabama. ProSouth Wrestling presents Redemption. I'm looking at the lineup, and it's going to be a lot of fun in Piedmont tonight. Good friends of the family out there, got a lot of great colleagues, a lot of great friends who are working the show. And my tag team partner, Mr. Shane Noles, is in the main event for the championship itself for ProSouth Wrestling. The champion, Big Tomb, in a triple threat match against his number one contender. It's Enrico Palazzo.
Sorry.
His number one contender, Donnie Primetime, who was just on the To Be Determined show last night, which is currently available on the station. It'll be up a little bit later in the evening. And Shane Noles in that triple threat. Going to add another championship to the belt, to the roster tomorrow night?
We certainly hope so. The Heritage title at Peachstate Wrestling Alliance no longer in my possession, but it'd be good to get back into gold. This is my first triple threat match, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. I have wrestled Big Tomb in singles action. I have wrestled Donnie Primetime in 6-man tags. Never faced Donnie Primetime in singles action, but I am highly impressed with the improvement that DP3 has made over the last 6 months. Even though we haven't tangled at ProSouth, I've been watching his improvement with conditioning as well as ring work, and it's an interesting dynamic with he and Tomb and myself for the ProSouth title. I look forward to this. I really do. I'm interested to see how it all plays out because I've commentated triple threat matches, certainly watched many of them, but it's a whole different ball game when you're inside the squared circle involved.
Right. Looking forward to finding out. I wish I could be there. Of course, you know where I'm going to be, and I'll mention that in shameless plugs. I'm not gonna slide that one in and throw shade. But by the same token, for our friends in Eastern Alabama, Southern Tennessee, and Western Georgia, if you're looking for a great place to spend your Friday night, wrestling fans, I wholeheartedly recommend it. 627 Southern Avenue, ProSouth Wrestling, set and ready. Redemption. I was trying to say the name of the show before I said the name of the show. I love it when that happens. Redemption.
Yeah, and on ProSouth, yeah, the West Georgia, East Alabama area, not a bad seat in the house in the ProSouth arena, I guarantee you.
And one of these, I know that they do film, and I'm trying to figure out if they're ever going to come out and do the DVD thing themselves or possibly even video on demand. And by the way, for the record...
Yeah, you're right. I know they film. I've never seen that. I haven't seen where it's distributed. Sorry.
And from that vantage point, I do want to remind everybody that, of course, Shane and I will be back in action on Saturday, April the 15th in Carrollton, Georgia, under the banner, of course, Peachstate Wrestling Alliance will be back in action. Show information is already being made public as we speak. Of course, keep your eyes open on PeachStateWrestlingAlliance.com, as well as social media sites, The Real PWA over on Twitter. Of course, Peach State is on Instagram as well. And we're going to be covering the upcoming live event in a lot more detail in the coming weeks, as we are right around the corner, 3 weekends away. And it seems like it's forever at this point, but you know it's going to get here sooner than you can blink, right?
Oh, absolutely. 3 weeks, and we'll blink. It'll be here. And, we'll go over the card in more detail, but Eddie, on the commissioner's side, I just want to say this is a interesting event to me, just looking at it through the matches. 6-man tag main event, AJ Steele, Drew Adler, and Ace Haven versus the Kingsmen, which is now Kyle Matthews, Logan Creed, and O'Hagan.
Yeah.
Pandora in singles action versus Ventress. Myself versus Charles Vanders. Didn't think I was going to go down that road. The Besties, Marvelous Michael Stevens, the Encore Zach Edwards versus The Reckoning of Jacob Ashworth and Chris Spectra. Simon Sermon returning to Peachstate to take on Jackson Vile, making his CWA debut. Also Ashton Starr back at Peachstate. And the debut of Tommy Storytime with his guest, Kevin Blue.
I've got to bet. Yeah,
that's not a typical Peachstate card.
No, it's not. And from that vantage point, I've got to sit back and say, when I was approached about Tommy's story time, it's like, I'm not even signing off on this one. I'm letting the board have this all to themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those of you that follow Tommy on social media, R-rated ain't the word for it.
Oh, so, God, no. Now, I've got to say,
have the 3-second mute button delay.
Shoot. I have the edit button for post. That's all I'm going to say. But from there, I've also got to ask, because I know when she was first introduced, people were saying her name was Victoria, and I do understand that there was a miscommunication that her name is Ventress, right?
Ventress, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Just wanted to make sure that I was getting that right for everybody, because even at the last show, there were some people who were still saying Victoria, and lo and behold, I was one of them. But that has been straightened out. I took my ass chewing, and but it's still going to be on commentary that way this time. But I'll get it right on the next one. I'll get it right on the next one. And had a lot of fun calling the matches with Mad Dog Dan Sawyer at the previous Peachstate show, and really looking forward to making the return. Don't know if Dan's going to make the trip on this one, but of course, door's going to be open for him to sit in for a couple of matches this time around. If the board's okay with it, I'm good with it. It was a lot of fun. Oh, I did get tickled after what happened before intermission when he referred to me as a glory hog. You just now catching on to that, Dan? Come on, dude. How long have you known me?
Yeah, where you been?
Yeah, I know. Welcome to the conversation. But also really looking forward to the return of Ashton Starr to Peachstate on the 15th. Tremendous in-ring talent, very gifted entertainer, very gifted grappler, performer, wrestler, all of the above. And there's always some hesitation on that connotation for the pronoun for Ashton, because a lot of people know what I mean on that one. But like I said, looking forward to seeing Ashton back in action, and always fun to hang out with and be around. But like I said, we're going to be covering this a lot more in detail. We're going to in detail, and we're going to have scouting reports all the way across the board in the upcoming days. You asked me about baseball.
National pastime.
30 to 38 games into spring training, folks. And I feel bad for the Braves yet again. But then, of course, spring training does have the same benefit of putting artificial bacon bits on your salad and then realizing later that you put artificial and not real. I really have to sit back and say I'm impressed with the fact that the Yankees have just absolutely started ripping things up again. But once again, this is spring training. I would love, on a personal note, I would love to see the Mariners back in full swing. If I have to sit back, and we both know that when Chicago built, they built for duration. They built for the long haul, just like Cleveland did. It would not be out of the realm of possibility to see a rematch next year. But there are some other teams that are going to be standing up. And unfortunately, your Cubs right now are 12-18 in the preseason. But once again, it's spring training. Or, it's the Cactus League and the Grapefruit League. Technically, it's not the National and American Leagues yet. But it will be in a few days. When is opening day?
Sunday. And I'm kind of curious. The last 7 or 8 seasons, Major League Baseball has opened with a Sunday night game as like a showcase, normally the defending World Series champion. But Sunday's got several games on the schedule starting at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, building to the Sunday night ESPN game as the Chicago Cubs look to defend, I'll get that in there, their World Series title as they take on the hated division rival, the St. Louis Cardinals.
No, you didn't say it right. Say it right.
What did I mess up?
You did it differently going into the break. I wanted you to do that again.
Oh, for the first time in 109 years, the Chicago Cubs look to defend their World Series championship.
Hey,
whoever came up with that for ESPN and Fox, beautifully done, because that is a funny little wink at marketing.
Yes, it is. Hey, get it out there. Say it right. Go for it. All of the above. And funny thing about it is, I can't help but think that in the American League, Tampa Bay's, I think, got a possibility to step up this year. The White Sox can step up this year. Of course, the Reds are going to be in the mix. I'd love to see the Royals back at it. And like I said, I'd love to see the Seattle Mariners really kick it back into gear. I think they're due for a good season. Of course, the Yankees are going to be in the middle of the mix all over again, and I'm not going to count out Cleveland for a possibility at repeating as AL champions. Over in the National League, I've always had a soft spot for the Cardinals, going all the way back to Ozzie and Terry, Ozzie Smith, Terry Pendleton, and quite a few other notable names. Followed that team for a long time. I've never been a huge Dodger fan, but I always feel bad when the Dodgers suck, because I think that it's a weird representative sample of what can go wrong in baseball. With everything else happening, I see potential in Washington, even though they're not doing that well in preseason. But once again, it's spring league. I do see the Cubs poised. And in my heart of hearts, I would love to see Atlanta step back up and kick it into gear. But once again, I lived in Atlanta for 91. I know what it's like to go from worst to first. But do they have the combustible elements in place in order to make something like that happen? I don't honestly know yet. That's why I always hate doing stuff preseason, especially with baseball, because there's a difference between having 17, 18 weeks in the NFL season, 12, 13 weeks in the college season, as opposed to 180. How many games in the... Well, are they running 290 games this season now?
162.
I know I was being facetious.
Sorry.
It's kind of like 420. They're running 2 through Birmingham nowadays. One I know about. The other I'm normally barely either awake or asleep for. But that's another all-in story to itself. But like I said, coming out a little bit later in the season, I'm afraid for preseason because you've got so many damn games. And you have the potential in one night for everything to be perfect or everything to fall apart, to everybody to shine, to somebody to get hurt. So that's why it's like, I'm going to wait before I try. I can't go on record on a preseason for that.
Initial thoughts, I will take a World Series rematch. I think the Chicago Cubs return just about the entire roster intact. This may be wishful thinking on my part, but I would say that if they weren't the Cubs, I think it could be a little bit like the Red Sox. Once they no longer have to hear about how many years and goats and curses and black cats every time they go to step on the field, that has now been lifted. I think they played cool, calm, and collected in spite of all that last year. Now that that's not with them, who knows how far they could go. It's a good young team with veterans. The Cleveland Indians, one acquisition I'll say, they made the World Series, took it to Game 7 last year, added Edwin Encarnacion. He has 37 home runs and 102 RBIs with the Toronto Blue Jays. You add him to that lineup, and early on prediction, I'll say a World Series rematch. For the Atlanta Braves, going through a youth movement rebuilding, but I am actually excited, Eddie, for the product. Dansby Swanson, the number 1 pick 3 years ago in the draft, acquired in the trade, beautifully done by Atlanta from the Diamondbacks. He's going to be the full-time starter at shortstop, and some veteran acquisitions of second baseman Brandon Phillips, outfielder Matt Kemp, and starting pitchers Bartolo Colon and R.A. Dickey, both north of 40 years old, will be in the rotation, but still very viable. Dickey throwing the knuckleball, and Colon never never really accused of being a solid athlete. I mean, you look at the man, he looks like John Kruk after Golden Corral, but he can get it done. And I think the Braves will be fun this year. There's got to be some optimism moving into, as much as we all would probably like to see Turner Field around. They are in SunTrust Park. I'm going to try to get out there. I know that opening series Friday night is a no-go for me because of wrestling obligations, plus, it's sold out already.
Right.
That's an opening 4-game set against the Padres, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm going to try to take off trivia and go that Monday night game on getaway day, so to speak, against the Padres and check out the new stadium.
Arizona pulled out a victory over the Cleveland Indians 6-3 just a little while ago. And unless things have changed, the Angels are still leading the Dodgers 3-1, and San Francisco is leading Oakland 3-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Yeah, it looked like we had a full slate of games. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wanted to go hot take for a second. I guess I could have used it for my last call, but it was fresh on my mind. One of our favorite athletes, Eddie, and I say that completely tongue-in-cheek, Mr. Colin Kaepernick. Now you've got Al Sharpton. Now you've got Spike Lee trying to say that he is not being signed because of race. I don't believe that, and I'll tell you why. Jay Cutler, who is not a great quarterback, but has had a longer career and a more storied career than Colin Kaepernick, is also unsigned. This just happens in the National Football League. If you're not great, people aren't going to rush towards you at the beginning of free agency in March. They will let other things play out. Injuries, the upcoming draft. Is there a need? They'll both get signed, I do believe. I think, personally, Kaepernick was an idiot. The second I even started to hear that he thought about opting out of a $15 million deal with the San Francisco 49ers, I said he's not going to see half of that on the open market. I don't think he sees a third of that now.
No.
And, his statement that I will now gladly stand for the flag, as much as I railed against what he did, at least have some conviction, dude, because you said I'm doing this for people that are oppressed. Are they no longer oppressed? Is that the case? Or are you trying to save face and put some more dollars in the bank?
Okay. I will now go where angels fear to tread. I don't care. I wasn't a big fan of Colin Kaepernick when he went to the damn bowl game. His mechanics aren't that good. He is not great in the pocket. He is not as versatile as he wants to think that he is, and some of the original pundits put him over as being. He was a flash in the pan. It was like Johnny Manziel. He was a flash in the pan. I would rather bank on Tim Tebow, who had a winning percentage as a starting quarterback for the Broncos, who went unsigned, who left football. So let's put this world in proper perspective. If you want to play the race card, go away. If you want to play the he did something stupid card, regardless of how well you try to rationalize it, please bring it on. I commend him for the humanitarian efforts that he put forth after he took the seat the first time. But weren't there viable charities and people here in the States that could have used that humanitarian aid just as quickly as internationally? In Birmingham, we have the Jimmy Hale Mission and a couple of others like the King's Ranch. We have charitable organizations that can use help 7 days a week. I'm sure San Francisco had some. I'm sure there were some in his hometown. Why do you want a grandstand? You put yourself in a very unique position when you do stuff like that. And it's polarizing. You think you're doing something for the right reason, and it turns out to be all wrong. And for you to come back and say, well, I'm going to stand for the anthem this year. I don't care. Can you throw the damn ball? Can you run the damn ball? Can you run an offense? Wasn't that well last year? I mean, let's be real about it. Once again, for people like Sharpton and Spike Lee, who I wish would just learn to shut the mortal effing hell up, because to me, they try to fight for relevance, and they make themselves more irrelevant to the majority of the freaking country when they do stupid stuff like this. Well, he not getting hired because he black. Really? You want to play that card and think it's going to intimidate somebody into hiring him? Please pardon my language, ladies and gentlemen. That's childish horse-ish. In my opinion, it is. I say the same thing now that I said during hour one. I don't care about the casing. I care about the qualifications. And there are good players who go unsigned every year in every sport. Every year. It's not just in football. But what Colin Kaepernick did when he sat the first time and then said, well, I'll take a knee. Okay, I was okay with the knee because that was a little bit more respectful. But he should have done that from square one. I understand your logic and your rationale. But, and I also fault the San Francisco 49ers organization for not coming down on him for it. You pick your time and your place to be a militant. When you're getting paid how many millions of dollars, that ain't the best place to do it. Like I said, it's not about the kneel, it's not about the seat. It's how well you think while you're on your feet.
Yeah.
Rhyme done. Mic drop. Not going to drop my mic. Damn thing costs $200. Shane, back to you.
Well, you bring it up so beautifully. I mean, Colin Kaepernick, you can say, took the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl. He did. Starter Alex Smith was injured midway through that season. So I look at what has he done since then. Nothing of repute. I mean, he's an average quarterback. And to me, I mean, look at me getting on somebody about their lifestyle. Ever since he chose to become a vegan 2 years ago, it seems like he lost a lot of that strength in his body. And I think that's been a detriment to him. But I say that about Jay Cutler, and we're past overtime here on the Shooter's Gallery, so I'll throw this out here. I don't know if you saw this on social media. Jay Cutler, who I can't believe I'm mentioning him a third time, but he is rehabbing from a shoulder injury. His wife posted a picture of him on vacation showing his naked buttocks from behind, saying he's healthy, rehabbing, and ready to sign. And all I could think was, I bet you Bears fans, that's the last thing they wanted to see is another sack of Jay Cutler.
And did his wife split the uprights afterwards?
Folks like Wilson Pickett, we are in the midnight hour.
There you go. But, yeah, every sports talk show has been running that picture, and it's like, look, Cutler's an ass on the field. I don't need to see his ass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, that was just utterly humorous. And look, I wish him the best in his future endeavors, and I pray that Chicago actually signs a quarterback. I really do. Tell you what, I'll sit back and say this. I'm not a Bears fan, and I'll probably get mortal crap from all my Bears fans' friends. Let go of Cutler and bring in Kaepernick and see how he does.
There you go.
Let him play in Chicago and see how that flies. Let him see if he can adapt to the Bears system. If he's a professional quarterback, he can adapt. But Colin Kaepernick has to learn how to work better from the pocket. That's been the big knock. Mobility is one thing. You can be mobile 7 days a week. But can you take the heat in the pocket? And can Jay Cutler just please take a hike? But, you know, I'll stop on.
It's funny you mentioned that about mobility. Robert Griffin III, RG3, I think what was so fun 5 years ago, the spread option, the pistol, whatnot, you see Kaepernick and RG3 sitting out there on the open market, and they're not past their primes. Both, I believe, are ages 26 and 27, if not 28 at the oldest. Doesn't seem to be a huge market for that right now. I think the league is going back to more pocket passers who have the ability to scramble on 3rd and 6 and get the first down if needed, but it's not the first option.
Right, and with the injuries that Griffin has sustained, he's too much of a liability. I would never sign him. It's kind of like Romo. Do I want to take a risk on an aging veteran who's got a history of back problems and the wrong hit in the wrong place at the wrong time would make him out? The big conversation is, would there be a chance of him going to the Texans? Give it a shot. At least he wouldn't be in the NFC. So the only time you'd see him is if they make it to the Super Bowl. And if you turn around and I'll say it like this, look, hey, if Tony Romo were to go to Houston and take them to the Super Bowl and face off against Dallas, or at least come to an area where it'd be remarkably close to where Jerry Jones would be sweating bullets. It would be similar to the situation to where the Green Bay Packers, when they finally cut Brett Favre and he went to the Jets first, got him as far as he could under the circumstances. When he went to the Vikings and got them as far as he could under the circumstances, which for both teams was further than they had been the previous year. Am I right or wrong on that?
Correctamundo.
If Romo were to go to a team that he has the potential to mesh with the personalities there and can stay healthy, I'd like to see him do it. But you have to remember, and this is something that this is where I love specific people in particular. Dallas last year was made for the running game, and they took it back to traditional football. You use the run to set up the pass. You don't flip that backwards, because you can only throw so many pass plays before your defense gets the read, and then you have to resort to a running play where you can be shut down more easily. Use the run in diverse forms to set up the pass and continue to keep the confusion in place. Sure, pass on first down, run on 2nd and 3rd. See how well that flies. But half the time, if you continuously pass on first down, they're going to look for it. It doesn't hurt to run a slant or an out pattern on the first down. Carry up the middle, don't ever do that on first down. Never. Off tackle, maybe, but not up the middle. Okay, done on that one.
Totally agree with you there, Coach Layne.
Yeah, I thought about that once or twice, and then I realized no. Coaches are fired every year, and I just, something? No, not going to happen. I'm not going to be Vince McMahon by the XFL. Which, if you've never really taken a chance or taken the opportunity to watch the 30 for 30 for the XFL, I think that was brilliantly done. ESPN did a great job on that. I don't know how much of a genuine creative hand Vince had in it, but I will sit back and say I enjoyed watching it. I've seen it twice, enjoyed it both times. Shane, have you seen it?
I have, yeah. I've still got it on my DVR, too, just so I can watch it again.
My favorite of the ESPN series, the U Parts 1 and 2.
Oh, those were good.
Oh, yeah. And, oh, God, Rozier. The one they did for him.
I enjoyed, to come to mind, the one on Lynn Bias.
Yeah.
As well as, even though I can't stand him, the shot, hating Laettner with Duke against Kentucky. That was beautifully done.
Yeah, you got to admit, Duke knew how to put together a good heel.
Mm-hmm. I could get him over.
Yeah, they did. Stick with us, kid. We'll put you in the spot. Take your time. Enjoy the ride. We'll give you the rub.
Looking at it, we covered a little. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I want to say this before we go any further. Legendary name in the world of pro wrestling, in my humble opinion, that would be Cue Ball Carmichael. And he's changed his name to his shoot name or his real name over on Facebook. And he had a couple of posts earlier today that were absolutely awesome. When he gets on a tangent about wrestling and past versus present, present versus past, it's absolutely great. So look up Christopher Jackson on Facebook and also do a search for Cue Ball Carmichael. You will be thoroughly impressed and enjoy a lot of the stuff that he posts specifically about the time variances in pro wrestling. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to come back to wrestling. We covered a little bit of the card for WrestleMania, and I just want to take the time to say this, that for everything we dissect, critique, whatnot, this is still the biggest weekend in our industry. And I'm tickled to death for all the independent talent that is getting down there and getting a chance to be exposed. It's a great time in our business to do that. Seen a lot of interviews with Triple H on any variety of ESPN network platforms, as well as with Sports Illustrated. And, it's interesting now that, if you've got the goods, if you've got the look, if you've got the work ethic, in 2017, there's no better time for you to get signed. And I guess I'm making this my last call, even though we probably still got some more time. I'm not sure about that, but it's a beautiful time to get out there, because if you've got the goods, you got the look, you got the work ethic, they've got scouting teams in place all over the country to be found. I mean, just look in the last 2 years. As Triple H said, we used to have to wait for guys to come to us. How do I get into pro wrestling? And now they're out there on the look. So, they've got to have somebody at some of these shows this weekend. But I'm looking forward to everything, NXT TakeOver, the Hall of Fame ceremony, so many other things coming out, WrestleCon, as well as Mania itself. I always get excited for WrestleMania season, and I can't help but think the last 2 years I've said this, the lineup has looked lackluster, and they've surpassed the odds with a better show than what it looked like on paper. So I hope they make that 3 years in a row this Sunday.
I hope they do too. And by the way, even though we're not affiliated with them, I want to give a little bit of credit to 434. They're a group over on that I'm sure. I'm trying to know. I didn't find out that much about them, but I just happened to see it posted. They have their official WrestleMania drinking game, which is funny as hell. You take a sip, 1, when they mention the Ultimate Thrill Ride. 2, if Big Show and Braun Strowman have a stare down in the ring. 3, when the fans chant either "This is awesome," CM Punk, "Holy fecal matter," say the word, yes, and delete. That's a bunch of sipping going on. Also, take a sip if Al Roker helps John Cena or Nikki Bella. Take a sip whenever a musical performer sings. Take a sip during every video package. I'm going to be freaking hammered by the second hour. Take a shot when a celebrity enters the Andre Battle Royal. 2, when Stone Cold appears. 3, Finn Balor returns. 4, the Hardys make an appearance. 5, if a match changes stipulation. Take a shot. You'll be hammered on this one if Michael Cole says, or when Michael Cole says vintage. And take a shot when The Rock makes an appearance. You have to finish your drink if the New Day somehow ends up wrestling, or a current NXT talent debuts, or Shinsuke Nakamura appears, or Shane McMahon jumps off something big. 5, Roman Reigns defeats The Undertaker. And 6, you have to finish your drink if Goldberg and Lesnar go under 4 minutes. So thanks to the
Lord. I mean, I've got to work Monday, so I'm not sure if I can get that schnocker.
You'd be drinking Sharps or O'Doul's before it's over with. Tell you what, I know that. Let me pull this back up real quick. Sorry, I'm away from the microphone. And we actually do have a couple of minutes, so let me go ahead and run this real quick. You're welcome to come in Sunday. We're going to be going live from 5 to 6 Central during the second hour of the pre-show. But just in case you're not able to make it, I'm going to throw this one at you. Do you have a pick or a top 2 for the Andre Battle Royal?
Braun Strowman. Hands down.
I'm following the lead of the writing, and I'm going to sit back and say it'll come down to Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn. SmackDown Women's Title match. Mickie James, Carmella, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi has been cleared. She will be there in the match.
I'll go Naomi.
That's the same thing I've got. She's now healthy, so she'll get her moment. She's done her time. She's done what's been asked. She's been better, but hopefully she'll be on fire this coming Sunday because, the comeback in your hometown, here we go. Cruiserweight title match, Austin Aries versus Neville.
Give me a double. The way.
I got Neville. I think that this is his time to shine. But by the same token, Neville's a professional. He'll do what's asked of him, just like Austin will, because we both know they both still have a lot of tread on those tires. So there's a chance. But I think for everything that he's done for WWE, this is Neville's moment. So I'm taking him. Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles.
It better be one AJ Styles or we riot. There's you another shot. I bet there'll be that sign in the crowd Sunday.
I was going to say that.
Stay out of your playbook.
Damn it. I've got Styles also. He has to win this one. Cena, Bella, Miz, Maurice, your call.
I'm going to go Miz and Maurice.
Same here.
Just because Cena and Nikki Bella isn't needed, and it's not going to make a difference going forward. If Miz and Maurice win, I kind of think it does.
I'm of the same ilk. I believe the benefit goes to Miz and Maurice to go over. Reigns versus Taker. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Here we go. The one where I'm not spouting off an answer so quickly. I will say this. The promos the last 3 weeks have led me to believe they're going to go this route. I'll say Roman Reigns if it's going to be the full-fledged heel turn that has been needed for 16 months now.
They made the mistake once with the dead man's record. If Reigns wins, well, I'll watch the rest of the show if I decide to. And I'll go to bed and wake up the next morning. And I'll still have the WWE Network. I'll just wonder why the hell they did it. There should have been Watts in there the whole time. I need to get that Stone Cold sound effect. What? Okay. I'm going Taker.
Oh, you just brought up something I hadn't thought of. This is that lovely time of year, too, when we get to hear I'm canceling my subscription.
Yeah, screw that. If I would cancel my subscription, it's because I'm broke. I'm not going to cancel my subscription to the network just because they do something stupid. Hell, they do something stupid almost every show. I would have canceled my subscription 600 times by now. So, no, I'm not going to cancel my subscription because the show sucks, because NXT is on there, 205 Live is on there, and there are other shows that I like to watch. So why am I going to do something stupid like cancel the network because one show sucked or a match didn't end the way I wanted it to? People need to grow up about that crap. I'll cancel my network. I'll cancel the WWE Network when I cannot afford it. I still enjoy watching new episodes of Camp WWE as well as Tatsumi Fujinami and Ric Flair from Super Brawl 91. Oh, hell yeah. And then on top of that, Ride Along is still good. Table for Three is good. I don't know who the guy is out of the New York radio station who tries too hard to put himself over as somebody who has a clue, but I really enjoyed the bit that he did with Corey Graves and JBL. I thought that was well orchestrated. They definitely carried his ass on that one. Triple H, Seth Rollins, non-sanctioned match.
Oh, well, this seems to be following the trend the last few years of Triple H comes back for Mania, and the one person that he hasn't put over is Sting. So I think he puts Rollins over this Sunday.
Yeah, Rollins wins. I got that one easily. Triple threat ladder match for the Raw Tag Team titles. Enzo and Cass, Sheamus, Cesaro, the Gallows and Anderson, or the Hardys. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to say that part.
Well, I was going to say the Hardys come out whenever New Day does whatever presentation they're going to do. I could so see that crowd going crazy for delete Bootios. But I don't think the club retains as much as I think they need to. I think they probably go all the way with Enzo and Cass.
I don't see them going over with Enzo and Cass. I think they're still at that point where they need. Okay, look, they're incredibly over, but if you've noticed the last couple of times, the fans haven't been totally been behind the SAWFT, which shows me there's a little bit of sign. They need to back off the television appearances. I think right now, Gallows and if anything, give it to Sheamus and Cesaro. Give them that moment because they busted their ass for it. Now, in all sincerity, I also can say the same thing for Gallows and Anderson. They've been mishandled the entire time. Do I see a possibility? Hey, look, when Balor comes back, how club is he going to be? How good brother is he going to be? Because the original plan was for Finn Balor to take the reins, so to speak. He was going to take the steering wheel. Then he got hurt. Well, lo and behold, you got Gallows and Anderson now, so you got part of the BizCliz there. Good brothers for life. So I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if they gave it to Enzo and Cass. I think that would be a feel-good moment depending on exactly what match it follows. Match placement is everything on this show. Intercontinental title match. I'm surprised they still have an Intercontinental title because I haven't seen the damn thing defended that much. Dean Ambrose defending against Baron Corbin.
I'm going to go Baron on this one.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Baron. That was my original pick. U.S. title match. Owens-Jericho, which should have been the Universal title match.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this. I thought they did everything beautifully. I'll rehash again for those listening if you didn't hear it. You had the Friends for almost a year. The best thing, in my opinion, on Raw. They did the Festival of Friendship. They did a memorable turn. And wait a minute. It's not the babyface chasing the main belt with Owens now. It's the heel trying to get the U.S. title off the babyface. Almost all the way, 9/10 didn't pull it. But I digress. I think now, Eddie, they've got themselves in position because it would have been so easy for Jericho to take the Universal title from Owens. I almost think they have to put the U.S. belt on Owens to keep this going.
So you're picking Kevin Owens?
I will pick Kevin Owens. I would have taken Jericho in a heartbeat if they kept the Universal title on Owens at Fast Eddie.
Well, I just got a special voicemail in just for you on that one. You're taking Kevin Owens?
You just made the list!
Okay. It worked. I'm waiting.
I root for Jericho. He is my favorite on the card.
Yeah,
this Sunday. But,
yeah, Owens goes over in this one. I've got to sit back and say because I think everything points in that direction. Jericho has done everything right. Owens has done everything right. I can't help it. It's creative. It's just stupid sometimes. Fatal 4-way elimination for the Raw Women's title. Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and Bayley.
I will stick with Sasha Banks on this.
We are agreed. WWE title, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt.
I'm going to say Bray retains.
Ditto. I actually am. I was going to wait on Sunday to give that one out, but I am. I've got Bray going over. And the Universal title match, Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg.
One reason I was going to say Bray retains is because Goldberg drops his to Lesnar, and also thinking stuff like the reason I think Owens goes over is, after Mania, you got to come back with stuff. They're probably not going to come back with Rollins and Triple H. They're not going to come back with Reigns and Taker. So I'm looking at heels in that position of Owens and Wyatt going over. And because Wyatt retains his again, I will take Lesnar to defeat Bill Goldberg. And is this Sunday it for Goldberg?
It probably is. More than likely, at least for a little while. But but he's made a statement that he may be that he's going to keep all options open. But I really don't see him going any further than this because it's the grandest stage of them all. Anything past this would almost be superfluous for him to try to keep himself in the condition he's in. Because God knows, match shape cardio is totally different from anything else save football. But even football plays for 2.5 seconds, 30-second break. Wrestling, you may have a rest hold here and there, but you're going.
Before his run is over, though, this is just me. I would like to see Goldberg work someone besides Brock Lesnar. I think there's some interesting stuff they could do with him.
Yeah, but I don't want to see it. You've got to be careful with Goldberg because you have an image to uphold. Because remember, I think he maybe had 6 matches in WCW that actually went longer than 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. Including the U.S. title or the title match where what was the faction Ravens Flock, I think it was, where you had everybody under the sun interfere in it? The U.S. title match. Of course, by the same token, hey, stranger things have happened. I'd say Lesnar has to go over in this one. I would like to see Goldberg retain and stick around for a little while, or at least retain and give the belt up on Monday night. But in this one, Lesnar's due. Remember, Lesnar took the shot Monday night, and the traditional Vince logic is the one who does the honors on the go-home gets the honors at the big show or at the event.
Sure, and looking at this, I mean, Lesnar lost in under 2 minutes at Survivor Series. He was eliminated at Royal Rumble by Goldberg, and he's left laying due to a spear on the go-home. It's almost like if Lesnar doesn't win, and I've been one of the few proponents that said if you're going to end the streak and do it with Lesnar, I have loved the way they have booked him the last 3 years instead of just treating it as an afterthought. But, yeah, with all this, if he loses to Goldberg Sunday, it's almost like you've squashed everything you've done for 3 years.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll agree. Oh, by the way, before we hit shameless plugs real quick, I do want to send this message, and I know you're going to see him tomorrow night in the main event. Told him this last night on the To Be Determined show, and, of course, Donnie Primetime is celebrating his birthday. So, Donnie, once again, I do, from the bottom of my heart, want to say...
Happy birthday, dumbass.
Thank you, Red Foreman. Still one of my favorite sound bites of all time.
Thought it was Joshua O'Hagan for a second.
Oh, he ain't got that much talent. What are you
So
talking
it sounded like.
Wow.
Think about that. Play that again if you don't mind, and picture O'Hagan.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, dumbass.
No, it has too much bass in his voice to be O'Hagan.
Okay.
Yes, that is a midget between my legs.
That's what O'Hagan would say. But let me see. I think I'm looking at my run sheet for the most part. Of course, yeah, Ring of Honor's a huge event coming up this weekend. WrestleCon all the way through the weekend. There's so many things going on. Wrestling Revolver, Wrestling Circus, WWN has got multiple events down there this weekend. There's just so much to do in Orlando. I would kill to be down there for the entire weekend, but unfortunately I cannot. Being sick killed me. I had friends who was like, dude, come on down. We got a bed, we got a couch, we got a cot. We'll put you in a hammock in the backyard with a mosquito netting around you. And I appreciate everybody's offers, but with me fighting through, I don't even care if I go to Mania. There's some other events I really want to see, and Mania's sold out. So, but for me fighting through the bronchitis and everything else and trying to get healthy, I'm just playing it safe and doing my job and staying up here for the weekend. But when we come back to New Orleans, it's on, kids. If I'm healthy, New Orleans is going to be a party, and Beyond Ringside will be on location a number of nights when the next Mania occurs. I guarantee you that, because plans were made. We were going to try to start putting things together, and with situations occurring on the business front and on the home front, I had to stall those plans out, and I hate the fact that we did. But after 3 weeks, all those are going to be in the books and in the past, and I get to work on building an even brighter future for as long as I'm able. So I'll just leave that at that.
It's so crazy you say that, because I was just about to bring up we should go ahead and plan a year out to go to New Orleans and do some live on location Beyond Ringside Radio.
Speaking of road trips, even though Price is not doing one this year, but there's actually going to be a Mid-Atlantic convention in Virginia coming up in a couple of months. I don't know if you've heard about that one or not.
I have, and to my knowledge, Charlotte is still on for the first weekend in August.
Okay, because I hadn't seen any updates from Greg Price, the person who runs it.
Mm-hmm. Knock on wood, normally he starts throwing some casts out there early May.
Oh, okay.
Vendors and names starting around May or June. That's just the norm. I mean, that may be different this year.
Right. Okay. We'll play that one by ear. We'll tell you what, I'm going to go and throw it in your direction. Shane Noles, last call.
What could I possibly come up with for last call that I haven't already talked about? I will say this, though. If you're a wrestling fan, the network for $9.99, I think this is when you get your money's worth, in my opinion, for the entire year with NXT TakeOver. My goodness, the Hall of Fame ceremony, which we've kind of breezed over, so I'll make that last call. I'm very excited to see Kurt Angle get his moment. I don't know if Kurt Angle's going to be an in-ring competitor or a general manager with the WWE moving forward, but I know he'll be involved in some capacity, and that makes me happy. Rick Rude Definitely look forward to seeing Ricky Steamboat induct him. Beth Phoenix, give or take, happy for her moment. Teddy Long, same. Diamond Dallas Page, I think pretty cool here for his impact outside the squared circle as much as he's had in it. Because, hey, in some way, shape, or form, thanks to him and the good Lord above, we still have Scott Hall and Jake Roberts around. But the Rock and Roll Express, I know two gentlemen that Eddie has worked with, I've worked with, heck, everybody probably from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon has worked with. Very excited to see these two enshrined in the WWE Hall of Fame. Can't wait to see Ricky Morton with a live mic. Just hope Kevin Nash isn't sitting 2 rows back. And can't wait to see Jim Cornette induct them. For those of us that grew up and watched territories, this is going to be cool. Jim Cornette, how many times did he manage against the Rock and Roll Express? Right. And to see him induct Ricky and Robert, that's going to be a pretty cool. This is one of those moments that I try to tell people when they say wrestling ain't been the same. By the way, this past Monday, I believe, was the 16-year anniversary of the final WCW show from Panama City to Final Nitro. Right. There's still a huge contingent of people out there that wrestling hasn't been the same back when such and such. And I try to tell them, well, why don't you watch Jim Cornette induct Ricky and Robert? Because that's your time. Even if you don't want to give Roman Reigns or Finn Balor or AJ Styles or Bray Wyatt or Neville a chance, these were your guys. And you owe it to yourself to see them enshrined. And much deserving for Ricky and Robert and all across the board. But I think that's my Hall of Fame induction that I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm wondering how they're going to handle the Rick Rude one. That is only hinge point for me. And what's funny is I'm looking at the Ric Flair statue that was unveiled at WrestleMania Access. From the head up, it looks like Ric Flair, and from the neck down, it looks more like John Morrison, including the robe.
Right.
Had to do it. But, I mean, the brim on the robe looks like something that John Morrison would have worn. Damn it. Weird is not a word. Weird is a word, and that's what I am, but that's an entirely different animal.
He weared that last night.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan. I go to all the Monday night shows. Oh, wait, there's only one. Yeah, I watch it on YouTube. Oh, it's on cable? Sorry. Okay, never mind. And I think one of the best moments for me, I was watching social media earlier this afternoon, and Triple H absolutely stole the moment, in my opinion, when he posed with a cardboard cutout of himself and said, "No need to Photoshop this one." I was on the floor laughing my ass off. And he also did one where he was acting like the interviewer with a microphone in his hand interviewing Triple H. So it's like you had Hunter interviewing Hunter. It's like, who are we going to bury this year? Oh, no, wait, that was 10 years ago. We put people over now.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
No, he didn't say that. That was me saying it.
Oh, I was about to say, good Lord, if he said that, I'd lost my mind.
Oh, no, I'd have been in the floor for a month. But like I said, him posing with the cardboard cutout and the caption underneath is, "No need to Photoshop this one." It's like, that was just beautiful. There's one thing I got to give credit where credit is due, and this is why Triple H was one of my top 3 MVPs coming out of 2016 when it comes to pro wrestling, because the fact that he has taken a more self-deprecating side to looking at himself. He's managed to push himself to the side and step to the forefront at the same time and do the right thing. He has genuinely been behind the scenes what's best for business. Not a big fan of the character every time because I get tired of the heavy-handed heel. I mean, I'm sorry. That's why Stephanie McMahon's character has got to change. They tried tweening her out. They tried flipping her back and forth. But I guess creative thinks that Steph needs to be a heel. No, Stephanie McMahon does not always need to be a heavy-handed, narcissistic, one-dimensional, megalomaniacal bitch. There's times when the crowd just won't let it go. And I know it's fashionable to boo John Cena. It's fashionable to boo Roman Reigns, especially now that he's actually looking heelish. But it's not always fashionable to just come right out and boo Steph. And I don't know if you saw her outfit Monday night, but damn, she was hot. Hunter, you're a lucky man.
Oh, yeah. It cracked me up Tuesday night when Shane McMahon's doing the contract signing with AJ Styles, and you can audibly hear off camera some guy scream, "Your sister's hot."
Did he crack? I didn't see.
No, he no-sold it.
Good. Also, real quick, I'm going to go and throw in my direction for a last call. I'm going to send you back to Shane for shameless plugs. By the way, as far as what happened earlier during the trivia, learn where you have, young Jedi. Coming from the Oracle of Shameless Self-Promotion, trust me, you did well. We are 2 weeks away, theoretically 1 full week away. Saturday, April 8th, 2017, UFC 210, live on pay-per-view from Buffalo, New York. Daniel Cormier defending the light heavyweight championship against his number one contender, Anthony Rumble Johnson. That match in and of itself should be worth the price of the pay-per-view. Happy to see Chris Weidman back into the ring, Thiago Alves back in action. There are some great fights coming up. UFC 210, we are going to be going in-depth on that card next Thursday night right here on the Shooters Gallery. From there, like I said, you've got so many events going on. Let me pull something up real quick. And I know we're about to hit that mark, and we got about 2 minutes left in the overall. So I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. Please bear with me. April 1st, Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling, Nanaimo, British Columbia. April 1st, Midget Mania at the Trap Bar, Lancaster, California. Combat Zone Wrestling at WrestleCon, Wyndham Orlando Resort, Saturday, April 1st, Orlando. Ignite, Team Vision Dojo, Orlando, Florida, 3 p.m. Progress versus Evolve, Saturday, April 1st, downtown Orlando Rec Center, 8 p.m., morethanmania.com. Saturday, April 1st, Ring of Honor, the Lakeland Center, Lakeland, Florida, 6 p.m. local time. ROHWrestling.com, check it out. It is a damn loaded lineup. I want to see the bull rope match between Cody and Jay Lethal. That should be awesome. And you also put the fact of the matter where you have Bully Ray teamed up with the Briscoe brothers. Holy cow, that's going to be fun to watch. I don't care what anybody says. That's a dream matchup in my book. From there, let me find that. Where was it? April 1st, Go Wrestle, South Daytona, Florida, 7 p.m. April 1st, Shimmer, Orlando Downtown Rec Complex, 12 noon. United States Wrestling Alliance, Orlando, Florida, 8 p.m. WrestleCon Super Show, Hyatt Regency, 8:30 p.m. WrestleCon Women's Super Show, 4 p.m. at the Hyatt Regency, 9801 International Drive, Orlando. Wrestling Revolver, April 1st at the Wyndham Orlando Resort in Orlando, 12 noon start time. I do believe that is going to be, if that's the one I'm remembering it is. That's actually pancakes and pile drivers, kids. And yes, there will be pancakes there. No, you don't have to take a pile driver to get a pancake. But from there, you've got so many events this weekend, not only in Orlando. Granted, I was concentrating primarily on the Orlando shows because there's so much going down that I hope everybody who's listening, and I know we've got a ton of people listening down in Florida right now, check them out, pay them attention. They've got some great athletes, some great in-ring talent. Give everything, and they're working hard, genuinely, to do what they do best, to entertain you. You've got some phenomenal companies down there this weekend. WWE is not the only game in town. And remember, Mania is sold out, and only so many people can fit into the Hall of Fame and fan access and takeover. That's all I can say. I have a world of respect for what WWE has built in this event. Oh, I forgot one. I'm sorry. The WWN Super Show at Orlando Live Event, 6405 South. I just got this in instant message real quick. 6405 South US Highway 17-92 in Fern Park, Florida. That's Fern Park, Florida, not too far away, at 8 p.m. Check out WWNlive.com. Thank you for sending that over. I appreciate it. See, people do pay attention. Run like hell. So, once again, and if you're not in Orlando, believe me, there's a lot of stuff you can find. There's a lot of shows going on all across the country this weekend. Granted, you got a megaton of talent down in Orlando. But, hey, like I said, you owe it to yourself to take the opportunity, put down the remote control, get the hell out of the house, and go check out a live event. You will be surprised at who all you will find and the level of talent that you will find at a localized or a regional show. I guarantee you that. I just don't like using the I word because there is no such thing as independent wrestling, because it's all independent wrestling. There's no such thing as a true territory anymore. I'm sorry. WWE to me is an indie. Ring of Honor is an indie. Impact is an indie. A dumbass, but an indie. I haven't even watched. I after they put Karen Jarrett in the go home last week, I took Impact off my DVR. They're on timeout for the next month, so I don't care what happens. I'll go back to them in a month. I didn't cancel the network. I just took it out of the DVR. But Shane, do me a favor. Shameless plugs.
Absolutely. You can catch me tomorrow night in action, as we alluded to. ProSouth Wrestling presents Redemption. Tomorrow night, 627 Southern Avenue in Piedmont, Alabama, with a 7:30 Central start time. If you'd like to reach me, Shane Noles, ShaneNoles. That is on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, and you can email me at shaneknoles@gmail.com. Look forward to another good week of trivia. And Eddie, the power went out at my place 30 seconds ago, so we are doing this burning the midnight oil, literally.
What happened, curfew?
I don't. Well, right when you were talking about a lot of great events, it flickered and went out completely.
Damn. Oh, got candles and flashlights?
Headed that direction for candles. I've got a couple floating around.
You have a gas stove?
I do not.
Okay, folks, real quick, I'm going to do a huge shameless plug for something that's going to make me no money whatsoever. Sam's Club. And I'm sure Wally World and Target and some of the other stores have them. But I found the one I like at Sam's Club. It is a butane cooktop. Perfect for those emergency kits, the getaway camping kits, the vacation kits. It sells for around $27. It is a full-size regulation eye that you can cook on, boil water on, get heat with, get a little bit of light. But for those circumstances where you need it, you can get 3 packs of the butane cartridges for around $6 at Sam's Club. This is something that I have. My father had one. I got the idea from him. I have his. He left it to me, and of course I bought one of my own. This is a great idea. Everybody should have one for depending on the circumstance. If you're going on vacation, you might not be in a place where you can officially cook, but you can take that with you and get away with it. Number 2, power goes out and you're in the middle of trying to cook dinner. Break that thing out. And remember, you're cooking with gas, so it's going to cook faster and it's going to heat up faster. So that's something that friends and family, I wholeheartedly recommend people having something like that in their kits. Doesn't have to be an emergency kit, but it doesn't hurt. Trust me on that one. Did you finish shameless plugs, or did I just run all the hell over you?
Oh, not at all. I finished shameless plugs and also about to give a shout out to Alabama Power if they get here soon.
Don't they have the slogan "Always On"?
I thought that was correct.
Yeah, lying bastards. Again.
Yeah.
Let me run it real quick. In just under, about 21 hours, about 20 hours from 21 hours from now, I will be live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster, Alabama. Friday night karaoke kicks off 9 o'clock p.m. All ages from 9 to 10, 18 and up from 10 to close. Always a great time. Family, friends, coming. If you like to sing, if you know someone who does, drop in, say hi. Buffalo Wild Wings, Friday nights, 9 o'clock p.m. I'll see you there. Actually, off this week, I've got some personal things to take care of. Six Flags starts in another week from right now. Get your season pass while it's still on sale. From there, by the way, we need to work on a coalition to book a show at Six Flags. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. At Beyond Ringside on Twitter. Yes, there is an Instagram for special occasions. I'm trying to decide what's special. We are also LinkedIn, Google+, MySpace, Twitter, and Facebook. Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside and Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. There are 16 different ways that you can listen to the station live and pre-recorded programming. On the replay side of life, there are 12 that I know of, different apps that carry us, including the shows tab on iHeartRadio. The home site, of course, is beyondringside.com. For me personally, at Fast Eddie Layne on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Don't even worry about Snapchat. I don't do that much right now, so only do it if you know me. Instagram, it's a locked account, but if you have stuff that's pertinent to me, like wrestling or music or stuff like that, I'll add you. No problem. If you're a wannabe porn star, well, that's your fun part of life, not mine. Please be 21. From that that was not a shot. I swear to God, that was not a shot. That's just my personal bill. From there, FastEddieLayne.com is my home. drop by. I'm working on additions to it all the time. And if you have me on YouTube, starting next week, there will be YouTube exclusive versions, shortcuts of my side of the coin starting next week. YouTube.com/user/Fast Eddie Layne. Check it out over there. Folks, we're going to call it a day at the Radio Ranch. We went the full 3 and then some. Ted Guinness, always a pleasure, my friend. Phil Stamper, I'll see you next week. From there, I will say, for my tag team partner, Shane Noles.
This week, it's WrestleMania!
You do that so well. I am the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne. A little bit infirmed, a little bit impaired. I am a self-deprecating egomaniac. Until next time, adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abasenia, au revoir. And until we meet again, aloha means bye-bye. That does it for here on the Shooters Gallery. Join us next time as we all go beyond ringside. Bye for now.